Hi, I'm Jake, 32, and last month my life blew up when I opened my wife's phone and found out she was cheating, with a guy barely older than our son. I always thought I'd be one of those lucky guys. You know, the rare breed who marries his high school sweetheart, builds a home, raises a family, and rides off into retirement with a woman who still laughs at his dad jokes and steals his fries. Sue and I were that couple. Dated since we were 17, married at 22, 2 boys, now 22 and 17. 23 years. A lifetime. And then in March of 2020, the world locked down, and so did my marriage. I'd just been cleared to go back to work after knee surgery, blew my ACL out on a job site the previous fall. 5 months off, hobbling around the house while Sue picked up the slack. I admit, I wasn't exactly a ray of sunshine. The house was cluttered. I couldn't move like I used to. We weren't connecting physically or emotionally. But I thought we were just in a rut. Then she started working late. A lot. Every night. Long hours, cold showers, distant kisses, eyes glued to her phone like it was a damn life support machine. Still, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. We've always trusted each other. Until I noticed her messages were getting deleted. I didn't even know what gaslighting meant until I started Googling. Signs your spouse is cheating. I found out I'd been blind. There he was. The same guy popping up in her group photos from work, hand on her back, face too close to hers, that smirky look I wanted to slap off his face. And then the kicker, I tried to view his Facebook profile and realized I'd been blocked. Blocked. I hadn't even met this guy, and he blocked me? So I started digging. Texts. Call logs. Our shared phone plan was a goldmine. His number came up more than mine. She called him on the way home, then came in the door like I was a ghost. I wasn't even angry at first. I was wrecked. Gut punched. 23 years with the same woman, and I didn't see it coming. But after 2 days of walking around our house like a shell, something in me flipped. I wasn't going to grovel. I wasn't going to confront her empty-handed. No. If she wanted betrayal, I'd give her something to be paranoid about. I called my best friend Oz and said, I want to ruin her life. He said, say less. What came next was the beginning of Operation Shinobi Ghost. The first rule of Operation Shinobi Ghost was simple: make her think I was cheating too. So I flipped the script. Started going out late. Started locking my phone, changing passwords, slipping out on weekends and not saying where. She asked what I was doing. I just smiled and said, just stuff. Then I'd disappear. Thing is, I wasn't cheating. I was at my boy Oz's place, throwing back beers, watching fights, or sometimes crashing on my sister's couch. But she didn't need to know that. All I needed was the seed of doubt planted in her head. And man, did it grow. Sue started texting me constantly. What time are you getting home? Where are you? Are you okay? This woman who hadn't looked at me with any affection in months was now trying to track my every move. And I loved it. Not because I wanted her back. Oh no, I was way past that, but because I knew she was spiraling. In the meantime, I kept gathering intel. Installed a certain unnamed app, no, I won't say which one, on her phone using our shared data plan. Within days, I was seeing everything. Texts. Nudes. Sexting. The works. This wasn't a fling. This was an affair. Romantic, emotional, physical. The whole betrayal buffet. She even had this clown in our house while I was at work. That detail still makes my blood boil. And yet, she had the nerve to complain to him about me. Saying I was cold, distant, probably cheating on her. Lady what? So I turned it up a notch. Started coming home even later than she did. Started being on my phone constantly in front of her. And then I brought in the ace, Nina. Nina was my closest female friend since high school. Sue hated her. Never outright said it, but you could feel it. That quiet tension every time Nina's name came up. And why? Probably because Nina had been in love with me since we were teenagers. Anyway, Nina had been stuck overseas during the pandemic, and when she finally came home in November, we threw her a small welcome party at Joey's place. It was 5 of us, socially distanced, masked up, but we took a few group selfies. Some accidentally intimate, shots of Nina and me, heads close, hands brushing. Then I posted them on Facebook. It didn't take long. Sue saw them and lost her mind. That night she tried to accuse me of being too handsy in public. I just raised an eyebrow and said, "You mean like you and that dude from your work last year? You know, P?" Her face. My God. It was like watching a Windows 98 computer crash in real time. She stammered, tried to explain it away. "Oh, he's just friendly. He's like that with everyone. Blah blah blah." But the real fun came later that night when I checked her messages. She was panicking to her boy toy. Said she knew she'd lost me. Called it karma. Said she was scared she ruined everything. And I sat there in my office, reading her meltdown in real time, grinning like a damn Cheshire cat. Because Phase 2 was just about to begin. October 20th, 2020. The day everything turned. I walked in the door after work, calm as could be. Sue was already pacing, nervous energy radiating off her like heat. She'd called earlier asking me to come straight home, said we needed to talk. I knew exactly what was coming. I'd planned for it. She sat me down and asked, very softly, "Jake, are you unhappy?" I swear to you, I almost choked. She was trying to play the concerned spouse now? After a full year of sneaking around with a 27-year-old? I gave her nothing. Just stared at her, expressionless. Then she hit me with it. "Are you seeing someone?" I fell off the couch laughing. Like full Joker-style hysterics. I hit the carpet. Cackling. Wheezing. I mean, she looked stunned, probably thought I'd lost my damn mind. She sat there watching me, confused and probably a little terrified. Eventually I wiped the tears from my eyes, stood up, kissed the top of her head like a dad sending his kid to bed, and walked away without saying a word. But you know what I did say? I said plenty, to him. Because her messages to P that night were an absolute masterpiece of emotional chaos. "I know he's cheating." He laughed in my face when I asked. Like hysterically. Like I was nothing. "I think I lost him. I think karma's real." I sat in my office like a Bond villain sipping whiskey, reading her confession. Her breakdown. Meanwhile, she was telling P she wanted to end things. She was drowning in guilt. She said she still loved him, but couldn't lose me. The same woman who spent the past year climbing into another man's bed was now desperate to save her marriage. But P didn't take it well. Dude was in his feelings. Sending poetry to crap like, "He doesn't love you like I do. You're making a mistake." It was like watching two raccoons fight over a chicken bone in a Walmart parking lot. And still, I said nothing. Because I wasn't done yet. While she scrambled to win me back, I was meeting with my lawyer. I'd been collecting evidence for months. Screenshots, emails, text logs, call history. Everything. New York's an at-fault state under adultery statutes, and I had proof stacked like Jenga blocks. I drained our joint bank account and moved my share into a private one. Locked down my credit. Shopped for an apartment. And slowly, methodically, I started disappearing. She had no idea. November rolled in and I started spending more time out. She was spiraling. Clingy. Paranoid. Hovering like a drone every time I touched my phone. I'd catch her staring at me with this sad puppy look, and I'd smile back like everything was fine. But I was packing my life into boxes. And that's when Nina came back into play. She and I weren't together, yet. But she was in on the plan. And one night, as we were going over the final steps, she looked at me and said, "Let me be the ghost you vanish with." Damn near broke me. But first, I had to make Christmas one Sue would never forget. Christmas Eve, 2020. The night I pulled the pin. By this point, Operation Shinobi Ghost was fully loaded. I had moved most of my important belongings to my new apartment in Co-op City. My bank accounts were separate. I had a new phone, new number, a lease signed, and a lawyer on speed dial. The only thing left was to detonate. But I couldn't just leave. No. That would have been too kind. So I prepared gifts. 14 binders. Thick, cataloged, color-coded. Each one packed with everything I'd collected since June. Texts, call logs, screenshots, photos, emails, hotel receipts. One binder for each important person in her life. Her parents. Her sisters. Her brother. Her closest friends. Her HR department, because, oh yes, she and her boy Toy P worked at the same company. which had strict rules against inter-office relationships. Each binder was beautifully wrapped like a holiday present. I dropped them at the post office December 16th. Delivery ETA? December 22nd to 24th. Merry effing Christmas. Now, Christmas Eve night. I laid the final trap. She came home, same routine, shower, wine, couch. I turned on the charm. I made her laugh. Kissed her. Even slept with her that night. First time in months. She was glowing afterward, like she thought maybe, just maybe, we were healing. She didn't notice the condom wrapper in the trash. We hadn't used those in 20 years. She didn't notice me slipping out of bed at 3 a.m. I left one last binder on my pillow. Taped inside the front cover? Divorce papers. Tucked beneath it? My old phone and my lawyer's business card. On top? A little note. Merry Christmas. And then I ghosted. Slipped out of the house I'd built. Locked the door. Walked into the freezing New York night with 2 backpacks and the warmest sense of peace I've ever felt in my life. When she woke up the next morning, she'd find the binder, the note, the silence, and no way to reach me. Blocked on everything. Vanished like a ninja. That entire day, I turned off my new phone. Spent Christmas with my sons, my sister, and Nina. Ate like a king, drank like a frat bro, and for the first time in a year, I breathed. By December 26th, the fallout began. Sue's life imploded. Her Facebook was chaos. Her sisters were tearing into her. Her parents called her a disgrace. Her work? Admin leave. HR wasn't playing around. Fired too. Meanwhile, I was sipping coffee in my quiet little apartment, watching her world crumble from a distance. And I felt nothing. Because the woman I loved was gone long ago. Now, it was just cleanup. December 29th, 2020. 4 days after I vanished. I was nursing a hangover and a sense of smug satisfaction when I got a text from Nina. You busy tonight? I wasn't. We met at a diner near my new place. Loki. Indoor seating was still at pandemic minimums, so the place was basically empty. Nina slid into the booth across from me, calm as ever, but her eyes were locked on mine like she was about to drop a nuke of her own. And then she did. She told me she'd been in love with me since we were 16. Said she always thought we had something special, but Sue swooped in first. And Nina, being the kind of woman she is, stepped back. She watched me chase, date, and marry someone else. She watched me build a family with another woman while silently burying the one thing she never stopped feeling. Then she said this. I'm not here to complicate your life. But if you're ready to start a new one, I'm all in. I didn't even hesitate. We went back to my place. And yeah, we slept together that night. But this wasn't some rebound. Nina wasn't a bandage. She was the safe harbor I'd been blind to for 25 years. And lying next to her that night? I finally understood what peace felt like. Meanwhile, Sue was frantically trying to reach me. Still blocked. Still unraveling. The binders had worked like a damn cruise missile. One friend who stayed neutral reached out to let me know she was being roasted on social media. Her coworkers wanted nothing to do with her. Her family had cut her off. She had no one left. And yet, somehow, she thought she could salvage something. Anything. Then came January 6, 2021. The divorce hearing. I showed up in full Johnny Cash black. Cold, clean, calm. Sue was a wreck, bags under her eyes, fidgeting with her sleeves, barely holding it together. Her lawyer handed over a proposal for reconciliation. I didn't even let them finish. Just shook my head. The final deal? Uncontested divorce. No spousal support, just $653 per month temporarily to cover utilities while she finds work. She keeps the house. I keep the cabin, the boat, my vehicles, and every ounce of my dignity. After the hearing, she chased me down outside like a bad rom-com scene. Waterworks. Begging. Please, Jake. Please. Just give me a chance. I made a mistake. Maybe we can try again someday. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, start imagining life without me. Because this is the last time you'll ever see me. And I walked away. It should have ended there. But it didn't. Because a few days later, one of her friends messaged me, voice shaking. Sue had tried to unalive herself. 2 empty pill bottles. foaming at the mouth. ICU. Critical. And suddenly I was the villain. I stared at my phone for a long time after that message. My first thought wasn't shock. Or guilt. Or fear. It was, of course she did. Not because I thought she was weak, though she was. Not because I thought she wanted to die, because she didn't. What she wanted was escape. From shame. From consequences. From the binders, the job loss, the family outrage, the mirrors she couldn't look into anymore. Or maybe she wanted sympathy. One last card to play. Either way, I didn't jump in my car. I didn't run to the hospital. I didn't do the dramatic movie scene of kneeling by her bed holding her hand. I told her friend very simply, "Sue is not my responsibility anymore." Her friend gasped like I'd slapped her. Her family called me selfish. Her friends who ghosted her weeks ago came back like vultures circling a wounded deer, suddenly saints again. Even P tried to visit her, and was turned away because he wasn't family. A poetic little detail that I'll admit, I did savor. My sons heard the news the next morning. Both called me. My youngest, already heartbroken from his own cheating ex, was stunned silent. My oldest asked if I was going. I told them both the truth. She is your mother. If you want to support her, I will never judge you. But I'm done. I have nothing left for her. They didn't like it, but they respected it. And for a few days, it seemed like that was going to be the end of it. She survived. Barely. Moved to psychiatric care. Started asking whether I came to see her. Her father said, "No." And she shut down again. And I thought, good. Let the truth finally sit with her. But life has a sense of humor. Because the person who finally convinced me to see her was Nina. One night she sat next to me, touched my hand, and said softly, "You're not going for her. You're going for you. Go, and see how little power she has over you now." So I called Sue. First time in 2 weeks. Her voice was hollow, raspy. When she heard mine, she immediately started sobbing. I didn't comfort her. I just told her I'd come by at 8 p.m. I drove back to the home I built and abandoned. She was waiting at the door, thin, pale, eyes sunken. She tried to hug me. I lifted my hand like a stop sign, and she froze. Inside, the living room looked mostly the same. But the bathroom, shattered mirror, clutter everywhere, a tub that looked like it hadn't been touched since the ambulance took her. She sat on the couch and started confessing. Everything. Every detail. Every lie. Every moment she chose P over me. Every time she deleted messages. Every night she came home to me after being with him. She admitted she never thought she'd truly fall for him, but she did. She said she was broken when she thought I was cheating. That she felt betrayed. That last part almost made me laugh again. Almost. She asked me, "When did you stop loving me?" And I said without blinking, "The night you asked if I was cheating. The night you pretended to be the victim while you'd been betraying me for months." She cried. Hard. But I wasn't moved. She told me how she woke up Christmas morning, saw the wrapped binder, and felt hope, until she opened it. She told me how she ran to Facebook, desperate for answers, and found only attacks. How she had no idea I'd mailed binders to everyone else. How the realization broke her mind. I let her talk. I let her empty herself out. When she was done, she whispered, "Is there really no chance?" I said, "There hasn't been a chance in a long time. When I walk out that door, I'm gone for good." She nodded. Didn't fight. Didn't bargain. Just sat there, small and defeated. I left without looking back. And for the first time since the day I discovered the affair, I felt absolutely nothing. March 2nd, 2021. 2 months until the divorce would be finalized. At this point, I was functioning again, eating right, hitting the gym, attending therapy, slowly unknotting the years of tension I didn't even know had become part of my muscles. And Nina? She was my lighthouse through it all. We split time between my apartment and hers. Her daughter, Anna, was 5, sweet, giggly, and immediately glued herself to me like I'd always been there. And weirdly, it worked. I went from a shattered husband to a puzzle piece in a different kind of family. But not everything was healed. My son, 17, was still carrying heavy scars. He started seeing a therapist too, but he'd been burned twice in 4 months. First, by his cheating ex. Then by finding out his own mother was doing the same thing to his father. His trust in women, in love, in truth, was shattered. One day he said to me, "If Mom could do that to you, what hope is there for anyone else?" I had no answer. I just pulled him into a hug and said, "The good ones are still out there. You'll find one. But it starts with healing first." Meanwhile, Sue faded further into the background. She never tried to contact me again. Mutual friends would give the occasional update. She sold the house, moved into a small apartment, got a clerical job thanks to a friend of a friend. She was barely speaking to anyone. Just existing. And then, out of nowhere, he reached out. P. The 27-year-old who blew up my marriage. He found me on Reddit. Said he recognized the story once it started going viral on YouTube. Thanks, Internet. He messaged me a long-winded apology. Said he was deeply sorry for what he did, claimed he didn't realize the damage he'd caused until the binders showed up. His mother, a devout Catholic, kicked him out when she read hers. His boss fired him. He was homeless, couch surfing, trying to find a job. Said he'd blocked me during the affair because he was scared of what I'd do if I ever found out who he was. Smart kid. I didn't respond with rage. Didn't scream. Didn't threaten. I just typed, "You're 27. When I was your age, I was building a family. You're building a legacy of being a homewrecker. If you're smart, you'll change. If not, karma has your number. Good luck." Then I blocked him. Closure? Maybe. Or maybe just another domino falling exactly where it should. That same week, Nina sat me down and said she wanted to talk about something serious. My stomach clenched. But then she said, "I want to marry you." And everything inside me just stilled. She told me she'd waited 25 years for this chance. That she wanted my name. That she wanted me to adopt Anna. That she'd never felt safer than she did with me. And I said yes. We got married in a quiet civil ceremony on May 4th. Just a few close friends and family. No fanfare. No rings of fire or orchestras. Just love. I gave Nina my name. I started the paperwork to adopt Anna. And 17? He stood beside me as my best man. That moment? It nearly broke me. I cried harder than I did on Christmas morning. Sue's name didn't come up once. It didn't need to. She was gone. I had a new wife. A new life. A new beginning. And finally, I was free. Hi, I'm Jake, 32, and this is how my story ends. Not with revenge, not with rage, but with something I never expected to find again. Peace. April 13th, 2021. The day the court officially stamped the end of my marriage. I walked into my lawyer's office expecting a stack of paperwork and a handshake. Instead, the moment Jeff slid the final decree across the table, I felt something in me collapse. 23 years, my entire adult life, compressed into one signature. And when I stepped outside into the spring air, sharp and bright, everything I'd been holding back finally broke loose. I got home, locked the door behind me, and fell to my knees. Not in grief. Not in anger. Just release. Like the weight of a collapsing building had been lifted off my shoulders. I cried until my ribs hurt, until I couldn't breathe, until every memory, good and bad, had flushed out of me. It wasn't mourning. It was rebirth. My sons were the first people I called. My oldest answered on the first ring. "Is it done?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "It's done." He didn't celebrate. He didn't sound sad. Just relieved. After everything he'd witnessed, his mother's affair, the implosion, the suicide attempt, he understood more than he should have at his age. My youngest got on the phone next, and we talked long into the night about trust, pain, and how to rebuild. I could hear it in his voice, that slow stitching together of someone who had been torn in half. Therapy was helping him. Time was helping him. And I think seeing me survive gave him something to hold on to. And then Nina came over. She didn't knock. She let herself in like she'd lived there her whole life, found me sitting on the couch with my eyes still swollen, and just wrapped her arms around me. For the first time since I was a teenager, I felt like someone was holding me together instead of the other way around. "I'm proud of you," she whispered. And I believed her. We'd already tied the knot by then in our quiet civil ceremony, no drama, no spectacle. Just two people who had orbited each other for decades finally choosing the same path. She became Nina Moore, and her daughter Anna started calling me Dad Jake, without anyone prompting her. I filed the adoption paperwork before the end of the month. Holding that kid on my shoulders at the park, watching her laugh like the world had never hurt her, that did more for my healing than any counseling session ever could. As for Sue, I stopped receiving updates months ago. One mutual friend told me she keeps her head down at work, avoids social gatherings, and hasn't dated anyone since P. She lives quietly. Small apartment. Small life. Probably haunted by big mistakes. But that's her story now. Not mine. I don't wish her harm. I don't wish her well. I don't wish her anything. She's simply gone. My story ends here. A new wife who loves me like her bones were carved for it, a daughter who brightens every corner of my life, and two sons who are slowly finding their way again. I have a home filled with laughter instead of suspicion. A bed that no longer feels like a battleground. A future I never thought I'd get to write. I'm not the man I was when all this began. I'm stronger. Sharper. Softer in the places that matter, harder in the places that don't. And for the first time in a long, long time, I'm happy. The saga of Sue is over. The life of Jake has just begun.